Good morning. What's going on? How are we doing? We're gonna try to run back to town here. I died the other day. Had to get resurrected and deal with all that stuff. But, yeah. Run back to town, do a little bit of alchemy. Pop out that. Try to get our alchemy up a little bit. Probably going to do a shorter stream today. Not going to be very long. What's going on, Vor? How you doing, bud? I don't know if there's anybody here that can give me some Speed of the Wild. But that's okay. You need to test the wizard in a constant pull group for me and see how they fare. Yeah, I do need to do that at some point. And actually play the wizard in a group setting. Because they might be really good right now in a group setting, you know, with their volleys. So do like a volley, you know, and gain mana back, and then do a volley. And then when you want to nuke, you know, like mix it up. I'm not sure how they'd play currently in that. But I imagine much better than they used to. I think that wizards in a group now are quite a bit better than they used to be. Which is good, right? It's good. Did a group with Horvarth the other day and struggled doing more than my dots and 1 DD. Oh yeah, so you were the main healer as well, or you were just doing 1 dot and damage? I imagine a wizard should be able to keep up better DPS wise in a group because they're going to be able to do their volley and reclaim thing. Just damage. Yeah, I would say that like a wizard, I mean, the wizard definitely has a better way to do DPS than a druid does, because they can reclaim for mana. Okay. It's going to be a slow run through this zone, but we'll get there eventually. Then had to go heals and stayed full mana? Really? So when you were healing, you were full mana? See, that's where I think that druid is going to kind of, what their niche is they're going to be able to heal, maintain decent amount of mana, and then be able to do a dot here and there or a DD here and there. Like, that's what's going to be really nice about a druid. So they don't need to be doing top-end damage. If they can do top-end damage consistently, then that's a problem as well. So they kind of have to balance that. And I don't think that a druid is going to be pulling the same numbers that a wizard will, simply because the wizard can do damage while gaining mana. So they'll be able to at least consistently do their volley spells. and then do a nuke every now and then. Where you're not going to see druids doing that. So, you know, there's a lot of factors going on there that they definitely need to dial in and check out, make sure that all that's working properly. Lose too much damage when having to go spring. Yeah. Spring is what? 10% healing and then mana regen? Yeah, I feel like druids want to sit in either spring or autumn pretty much all the time for that mana regen. Like, and if you're outside of that, then yeah, you're not going to be doing as much as you could be. Yeah, I honestly feel like a druid, even a healing druid, is probably going to want to sit in autumn and still heal. You know? 10% damage with regen. Yeah, see, that's where I think you want to sit, is 10% damage with regen, even as a healer. Then you can do a little bit of damage because your heals right now, I feel like the heals for druid and shaman are a little overtuned. The cleric is way overtuned, you know? Like, so the point that I'm trying to make is, like, the cleric is going to end up over healing quite a bit, which is just wasted healing. There's no reason for it. So they need to adjust the amount healed on all three healers to account for that. It's kind of like the cleric has basically a complete heal at this point. So you let the tank get really low, and then you basically do a complete heal. So yeah, I don't know. I think those numbers need to be adjusted some. I think they're a little bit off. You sat in summer, stayed full mana and healing. Yeah, that'll happen. I absolutely think that'll happen if you're sitting in summer, because like you're not healing nearly as much as you need to be. I believe so. I don't think that monsters in this game do enough damage. Right now, the armor class doesn't really work very well, so they need to fix that or change that. And then adjust how much damage enemies do. Because clearly, you know, somebody that has high armor class should be doing, or should be receiving, less damage. But, you know, right now, just like monsters in general just don't do enough. But then, like, you have cloth casters, you know, if they sit there for more than a couple seconds, they're pretty much going to die. So they definitely have to figure out how they're going to adjust that. Right now, the main thing for a tank is their ability. They just have more health. You know, they just have like twice as much health or so. And that's really what makes a tank able to tank, is just the amount of health they have. So, yeah, I think that the damage numbers need to go up for the monsters. And then armor class should mean more than what it currently does. But we will see what they do. I'll probably do a shorter stream today as well. Not a super long stream. But I didn't stream at all yesterday. I kind of hung out with the family. But I figured I'd get on for a couple hours this morning. Say hello. Chat about some stuff. I need to do a little bit more alchemy. So we're going to go see how much alchemy I can do. I'm up to 210, which is not bad. Oh man, I am sleepy. Sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. Good morning. How you doing, Stefan? Feeling old today? I am. Feeling very old. Nah, I don't feel much older. Had a pretty good day yesterday, just kind of relaxing, hanging with the family. I don't even think I turned my computers on. I mean, they were on, but I didn't like sit down at my computers at all yesterday. I didn't do anything at my computer. It's a nice little day off, you know. Very nice. Okay, so we do have zombie skins. I also have the carrion beetle eyes. We got to get over here and okay, let's see. What do we have? We have int tongue, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That means we can take 20, 40, 50 and make potions out of those. Okay, so we'll do that. Oh boy, we got a lot of other stuff though. Scraps, cotton padding. Got to clean out my inventory again. Leather scraps. Are we holding on to those? Yeah, I guess we are. Padded leather, padded leather, padded leather, padded leather. I don't think I have more padded leather. Yeah, I do. Right there. Cloth scraps. We're going to get rid of those. Heavy cloth bandages. Those are all going to go to my spell blade. Okay. I guess let's go make some of these. I'll be able to make 50 of these. Hopefully we get a lot of skill ups from them. Yay, I have speed. I can run like the wind. you're going to make 50 of the int potions. Although we can only hold so many. We got to get a lot more int tongue, though. Not a lot more, but I need some more. We'll see how far this levels me up. We'll use 50 skill ups. 50 chances for a skill up. Okay, so we need to do Greater Serum of Intelligence. So let's do, I think it's Tempered Vials, yes. Tempered, yep. Fail quite often still, even on even con stuff, which feels kind of bad. Okay, so we got those. Let's buy 20 more. Okay, let's go put these in the bank, and then we'll come back. I need more inventory space badly. Very badly. But I should be able to use these up on the wizard if I play the wizard some. I need to play the Spellblade, Druid, and Archer. Try those out. I don't know anybody I can think of that has access to those that I could get. I could get the info to and try them out. Okay, let's put these in here. Gotta clear some of this stuff out. Man, I just have so much junk still. So much junk. Oh, I meant to try to make... I need to get the upgrade for that. Combine those. Get rid of this. Let's see. Where is this guy at? Wait, what? There we go. All right, clear that out. Griddle? People trying to copy my name. How dare they? How dare they? Okay, what should I do with all of these herbs? I can get Mage Bloom. I can get this. I can get this. This. And then we don't have that. Okay. Okay, that's good for now. And then what's this one? Mystic Frond? Wow, I didn't even know I had all those. We'll keep this actually on me. Anything else? No, I think that's it. All right. Little spring cleaning happening here. Let's get on our potion guy. What? What the heck? I don't know why it does that. When you swap characters sometimes, it won't load in properly. Nomad's Grace, Lion Leaf. Oh, Mage Bloom can go here. What is this? Witherweed? Okay, we'll put that over here for now. Man, we got Potion of the Gravewalker, Stamina Potions, Strength Potions, couple Invis. I need to get rid of these Charisma and Wisdom Potions. I bet you people would want these Wisdom Potions now. But for now, we're good. Get back on Criddle. I've got a bunch of these wolf hearts too, which I'm going to be able to make Sal potions. I'm excited. I'll be able to make a lot of Sal potions. Be able to make 10, 15, 16 Sal potions. It's 160 charges of Speed of the Wild. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm getting them. I'm going to make them where they're trivial. That's the plan. Oh my goodness, I'm all the way over here again. Do, 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 do. Okay, put these in here. Stick frond over there. Cool. So that's good for now. Get rid of this. And we can put in... Man, we got to clean out this inventory more. But that's for another time. That is not for now. How much did the hearts cost? To buy the hearts? I didn't buy them. I killed monsters and got them. Why do people sell wolf hearts for a lot or something? Probably for a lot. Yeah, you think so? I mean, they're not easy to get necessarily because you have to get them from like level 45 plus wolves. And I don't know of a lot of level 45 plus wolves. But that's partly why I don't want to fail on them. So I want to make sure that those are trivial when I make them. Because I don't want to fail on crafting those. Let's see if we can get 220. Nice. I like it. I like it. I like it. Now we just need to buy 10 more of these. I think is all I've got. Let's buy that. 221. Awesome. Heck yeah. Which means my speed of the wild is trivial now, so we can make those. Thank goodness. And to make those, we need arcane powder. So 3 arcane powder, 2 wolf hearts, and then some int tongue. So those are actually pretty easy to make. Potion of vitality. What is this? Infuse yourself with vitality. Increase your maximum health by 10% for 1 hour. Huh. Hill giant heart and phoenix flower powder. Wow, okay. What about this one? This is dewdrop, int tongue, int tongue. Ooh, where do we get dewdrop? Anybody know where these are? Dewdrop. Because I could definitely go for some for a lot of these. Nullstone fragment. What is this? Nullstone? I don't even know where you get that. What I want to do is a bunch of fishing. Get a bunch of fish and then get crystallized vials, and I can just craft up a bunch of exceptional fish oil, which is only made or used to make like one thing back here somewhere. It's like it's weird. I don't understand why. Like you have to get really high level to then make something back here. Yeah, exceptional fish oil with resin to make wood finish. So you have to get like super high skill to make a lower level thing. It's backwards, and I don't understand why. But yeah, I need to figure out where Dewdrop is. Dewdrop, dooby-dop-dop, Dewdrop. Anybody know where that spawns at? I have not found that one. Probably super high skill level, though. Beats me, I'm a noob. Yeah. Beats me, too. I'm a noob. Alright, we'll go back, drop off these greater intelligence potions. But yeah, I don't know, 10% more health. Wonder how that one works. Is it 10% of what your current health is when you use it? Or like how does that? I'm curious how that one functions. Because I have right at fully raid buffed right now. I have just under 5,000 health. If I could add in another 500 on top of that, it'd be pretty significant. Okay, so we have 26 Mage Bloom, which means that we need to have 52 Int Tongue, and we have 2. So we need 50 more Int Tongue, and then whatever else. We have plenty of Arcane Powder. Well, we don't actually have plenty of Arcane Powder. We're going to need more Arcane Powder to do what I want to do. Okay. Well, that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You hoarding all those potions? No, not really hoarding them. I gave away a bunch Friday. Dewdrop is not in game? What? That's a bummer. Well, I don't know why they put recipes in the game and then don't put the actual items that you need. They need some better storage solutions for potions, like a vial holder rack. It takes up 1 slot and gives you 5 uses. They do. So there's a couple things. They have a bandolier, a potion bandolier. It's a 16 slot bag that holds 16 potions. Do I actually have one? No, I have an herb pouch. But what it also has a button on there that says like create elixir, but it doesn't do anything. So my guess is that at some point maybe you'll get potions and be able to combine multiple potions into an elixir, which would be really nice. Like really, really nice if they do that. I would absolutely love to see them do that. Okay. So that's all we need there. Let me get a little bit more food and beverage. I like to fill this up so I don't have to worry about it most of the time. Boom. Good there. Okay. Let's go. Where's my gate? We do this one. All right. We need a bunch more int tongue, so we're going to do that for a little bit while we chat. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating that they don't have Dewdrop in the game. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I guess it's kind of the same thing with the Stygian moss for a while. Like, they put in Stygian moss and it wasn't stackable. Like, these are just things that they just don't look at very often. Like the trade skill right now, they're just not really looking at it and doing much about it. Which, oh shoot, I forgot to get, well, we'll run around for a few minutes and get these. I forgot to get Speed of the Wild cast on me before I came over here. Big bummer, dudes. But yeah, another thing is like they have crates that you can put in your house, right? So like for inventory space. So you can put crates in your house. But right now, I think you can only put in enough crates to get 50 inventory slots, which you'd think is a lot, but it's really not. Not when you think about like, you know, a house. Like you should be able to store up that house with tons of inventory slots. Put backpacks in there and fill up those, and you know, all sorts of stuff. Inventory management is going to be a pretty big deal in this game. Would be cool if they gave rangers some sort of buff to make herbs stand out more. You know, that'd be kind of cool, yeah. I think they could give that to rangers and maybe even druids. But specifically rangers, yeah, to make them kind of highlight on their screen so they can find them easier. That would be kind of neat. I mean, once you know where they're located, it's not really a big deal anyway, but yeah, especially for new players, or you go into a new area. So I need at least 100-ish int tongue for to finish up my int potions, which are almost trivial at this point. So I'm gonna have plenty of int potions, but they're gonna be trivial, so I'm not gonna want to like make a bunch more of those. And then, yeah, well, we need a little bit more int tongue after that for Speed of the Wild potions. What if it revealed hidden herb locations? I don't know if it would be OP necessarily, but it would definitely put a lot of emphasis on rangers for like herbalism, which would give them a very big advantage because they get their they get class exclusive herbalism, and that's not going to be super fair to other players that are trying to do herbalism on other classes. So I don't know. I personally wouldn't do that. I don't think the devs should do that, but Who knows? They might. Like I'm all for making things, like keeping things fair across the board when it comes to trade skills. You know, you give like small bonuses, like enchanting for an enchanter. Like they start with 10 enchanting, I think, and then shamans start with like 10 herbalism. So they start slightly higher, but you know, are those first 10 skill ups really that big a deal? Not really, you know. But if you start making it to where it's a significant advantage, then yeah, I think that's too much. They shouldn't do that. So, but that's just my opinion. I mean, if people really want that, they could do it. But then you're just going to see a bunch of people making alt rangers to run around and do herbalism. So yeah. They get enchant medals for free? No. It still costs them a component. It's just guaranteed when they cast the spell. So like if I want to enchant a medal on my enchanter, I put it into a bag, I use dust and a piece of metal, and it makes the enchanted, but it could fail. An enchanter costs mana and it doesn't fail. And it still costs the dust. So it does require the dust. So they don't really get an advantage there other than it's guaranteed. But as an enchanter, you're going to want to level up. Like as an enchanter trade skiller, you're going to want to level up enchanting. So it's not really like a huge advantage that they get. If Bard Speed is ever an actual thing, it encourages it for all harvesting. It is a thing, yeah. Bard Speed currently is the fastest run speed in the game if you have like an instrument and you're a high-level Bard. It is currently the fastest. Now, are they going to change that? Who knows? I feel like the speed of the wild and all that kind of stuff is going to be changing soon. I believe that it is too fast currently. Either they're going to have to increase the speed of the wild, or sorry, decrease speed of the wild, decrease the Traveler's March, decrease the run speed of players, or they're going to have to increase the run speed of monsters. I feel like one of those two things is going to have to happen. They could also increase the run speed of monsters and increase the base run speed of players. They could do that as well. That's another option. There's a lot of options, but the run speed right now, speed of the wild run speed is too strong, and it needs to be looked at. It is being looked at. I mean, it's just a matter of what they're going to do with it. Speed of the wild plus rogue sprint is pretty fast. It is very fast, yes. And people learned how to bug their rogue sprint at one point, so they could have permanent rogue sprint. Like it was a whole thing that some people were doing. Good morning, Bash. How you doing, bud? Welcome back. Hope all is well. Just want all class changes to get in. Currently just playing PoE 2 until all the class changes. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, Bash. Like right now, it's a tough conversation to have, because some of these classes are going to come in, be too powerful, or they're going to be too weak, and we're all going to complain, or we're all going to, we're going to have our differences of opinion on the different classes. And the thing is, we can't really compare the classes. Like right now, I look at Wizard and I'm like, okay, is the Wizard performing well? Right? Is it where it should be? I have a couple complaints about the Wizard currently, but I don't know if it's supposed to be performing where it is right now. Like, are the other classes going to be adjusted around what the Wizard currently is? Or are we waiting for all the other classes to get in and then they're going to adjust to see where they want everything to be? Like, it's in a weird limbo state. I feel like the Druid right now is doing too much damage with their damaging abilities. They're also able to heal significantly more, which is nice for the Druid, sure, but then it takes away from the other classes. So like the Shaman and the Cleric haven't had their class updates yet. So right now we have Druid who can heal exceptionally well, basically maintain full mana and keep a group healed for an XP group, and at the same time DPS exceptionally well. And that basically makes it to where, why would you want another class as your healer? So I don't know, just it's going to feel really bad until they get all the classes in. You know, and they get all of them in, and then they have to adjust them accordingly, right? And balance them out. That's why, like I was saying, that they really need to hurry up with getting these classes in, especially if they're not going to be testing them as much as we thought they were. I don't think that, like, their internal testing that they said that they were doing was way less involved, I feel like, than what I thought it was going to be. I thought the internal testing was going to be a lot more detailed, and they're going to be checking numbers and such. They're not doing that. They're just making sure that the functionality is there from what it seems like. You know, is this skill working? Okay, cool. Let's send it out and let's see how the numbers work. Based on these last 2 big updates with the Wizard and Druid changes, they're not looking at the numbers at all. They're waiting to put it to the beta server for us to test the numbers and see if it's balanced or not. And it's not. It's not even remotely close. Like, well, it wasn't. Now it's a little closer, but it's still pretty far off. So I'd like to see Sal changes to an out of combat thing. Yeah, see, that's another thing that they could do. It's another way that they could potentially fix Speed of the Wild, is make it to where when you're in combat you lose the buff, and when you're out of combat you gain the buff, you know, but the buff doesn't go away. Like, it's an hour-long buff that you get, but you lose the benefit of it while in combat. Something like that would be a way to go. So we'll have to see what they do with it, you know. Like, I'm not here being like screaming nerf Speed of the Wild, it's way too overpowered. I mean, it's overpowered right now in what the current iteration of the game, but they could make a lot of adjustments and make it less overpowered but keep it exactly how it is. So it just depends on what they do. Not sure how you tell when you're out of combat, but like a gradual ramp up speed. Yeah. So like the only thing you could do right now is they could do it where, like, when you make an offensive action, you are in combat for 60 seconds, let's say. But as long as you don't make an offensive action, then you are considered out of combat. So they could do something like that, because they don't have a in combat, out of combat flag per se on the characters, because there's no abilities in the game, at least that I can think of and I know of, where you have to be in combat or out of combat to cast. You know, like there's no battle reses or, you know, things like that. Like that, those don't exist. So I've been bored, and Classic WoW has been calling me, but then this game caught my eye. Yeah, this game, I think, you know, Classic WoW's fun if you like World of Warcraft. I'm not a big fan of World of Warcraft. I've played it. I like it, but I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer this game over Classic WoW, personally. Had a funny bug, rogue speed, which made it last longer, but it went away. Aw, bummer. Yeah, people had figured out how to make it like permanent at one point, and I don't know if they were doing it on purpose. Run speed. You know, and the thing is, are they bug reporting that, or are they just running around being like, I don't know what I did, and just pretending, you know, that it's just a bug in the game, you know? Who knows? What's the cooldown on harvest nodes, or does it change? The cooldown, so I don't know. A few minutes. So like when you harvest a node, the way my understanding of nodes and how they work is, in an area you're harvesting X node, right? There might be 20 different locations for that node to spawn, but at any given time, only 5 of those locations are up. So once 5 of them are up, no more will spawn until somebody harvests one of those 5. Then when you harvest one of those 5, after X amount of time, another one will spawn somewhere else in one of those 20 different locations. So I believe that's how it works. So like you could have 20 locations for a node to spawn, 5 of them up at one time, and let's say 2 minutes between. So that means if you harvest all 5 of them within 2 minutes, there will be 0 nodes up, but then they'll start to spawn 2 minutes after you harvested them. It's something along those lines. Like it's not a long time, but there is a timer on them. WoW is too vertical. What do you mean too vertical? Like in their leveling, or in what way is it vertical? Or in their actual gameplay, you have verticality in places. Not a fan of the wisdom does spell damage. They just decided on a whim to make it so druids need just 1 stat of gear, while warrior still has to rock DPS tank loadout. Yeah, I've had an issue with that for a long time. In fact, like tanks require more stats than any other class, right? I've always had an issue with that. And it's like wizards only need intelligence. Is that fair that wizards only need intelligence and they don't need any other stat? Should druids need wisdom and intelligence to be able to do damage? Or and then you look at a fighter or any of the tanks, they're going to need at least strength, dexterity, agility, and stamina. But then your paladin is also going to need to have wisdom and charisma, and it's like, how do you balance that? That's a very tough thing to balance. This company, or Niche Worlds Cult, is trying to not worry about that too much, it seems like. Like maybe your class only needs 1 stat. Maybe another class needs 4 or 5 stats. Who knows? Pantheon was trying to make those changes, and it's not necessarily the best way to go either. Where Pantheon was basically like, okay, you have 7 or 8 different stats, and each different skill is going to use a different stat, and it felt really bad. Like if you were playing a spellcaster on a wizard, or playing a wizard, you would need intelligence for your damage, for most of your damage, but you need dexterity to land your spells. And then they even had some of their damage come from like stamina or strength, depending on what ability it was. And it felt really weird and awkward. So there's a couple ways you could do it. I don't know what their plan is with this game. But if they leave it how it currently is, then you're going to have wizards just stacking intelligence and no other stat. Maybe some stamina. Once they max out their intelligence, they could go with stamina. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? The counter went up to 2 million or so. Wait, what? What counter went up to 2 million? Your like run speed? What were we talking about? It went away, so I didn't report it. Future MMOs should be more horizontal progression based. Okay, so you're talking about progression. Yeah, I agree. I like the horizontal progression more so than anything else. Like, have the vertical progression for the level and all that, but then be able to get to the higher level quickly, and then have like gear checks. That's just my opinion, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people don't like that. Who's casting some Sal? Gameplay and gear progression. Yeah, new update, new gear. Everything else below is sold to an NPC. Rinse, repeat. Yeah, I mean that there's good and bad to that, right? If you have too much of that, I don't know. They can do that, and they would need to put levels on gear. They would need a lot of that kind of stuff. So, yay for Speed of the Wild. 3 to 4 max should be enough. 3 to 4 stats, yeah. I'd argue Bard the most stat dependent class, but stats don't matter for him, so it's not really true at the moment. Well, that's the whole thing. If stats don't matter for them, then they're not a stat dependent class, you know. Like you could argue that bards need a lot of stats because they need strength, they need dexterity to hit with their melee abilities, and they're gonna need charisma. I'm hoping that bards really go into that charisma line where they need a lot of charisma. That is my hope. Would be nice to see. My biggest issue with the game is how slow leveling is. Yeah, a lot of people have an issue with that, but then other people want it to slow down. So that's going to be a tough one. Again, I don't mind it taking a while, but the game is going to be able to hold on to casual players. Yeah, it might be tough, like it depends on what they have to do for that journey from level 1 to 60. Right now, you're basically better off currently leveling to 60 as quickly as possible, not worrying about gear very much, and then gearing up at level 60. But they are trying to emphasize gear more. So as they emphasize gear more, it's going to push people to do more at those other levels, not be able to necessarily level up more until they get the gear. So it's going to spread that play out, like where you want to be gearing up as you level. That would be the best thing to do. Know where to go, where to get some items, and you don't want to stay in one camp for too long. Stay in a camp, get the gear that drops there, and then move on to a different camp if you can. So it just depends on how they do that. But right now, the way that the game is set up is it's find a camp that's good XP and stay at it until it's no longer good XP, and then move to another camp. Like gearing up is just hasn't been a thing. You didn't really need to do it until like level 40 to 50. Then you're like, okay, now I need to actually focus on getting some gear. And if you did gear up, it made the game a complete joke. So, yeah, it was the whole thing. Duration of the speed buff went up to 2 million or whatever. Oh, yeah. You're talking this up like your buff timer? Yeah, it does that sometimes. Guild Wars 2 has an amazing horizontal progression. Gear just doesn't get outdated. Yeah, that's awesome, yeah. It just gets more useful, like your epic gear. Lets you swap suffix, change the stat on the fly. Yeah, see, that kind of stuff's cool. Like, I don't know if they're planning on doing that with this game or not, but, stuff like that would be kind of neat to see. Also about levels on gear, have they talked about their opinion on that? They have talked about their opinion on it. They have said, or Sean specifically, I think more than anybody, has said that they don't want to put levels on gear. They like the idea of being able to twink characters. Personally, I like the idea. I think that twinking characters is fun, but it's too strong. But they haven't said that it's going to stay that way. So they may or may not put level requirements on gear. They may or may not add like bind on equip or bind on pickup, like make more items no drop. They haven't officially made a stance on that. They would prefer not to do any of that, but they want to see how it plays out, is basically what they're saying. I mean, I can tell you how I think it's going to play out, and it probably will play out that way, but it may not. But like right now, it makes all the gear under level 50 mob gear, like anything that you kill that's level 50 plus is decent gear and you would probably use. Anything under that currently is kind of trash gear. It's good, as you're leveling the first time, but then once people start hitting level 60 and they can go back and they can farm the higher level gear, then they're selling all that higher level gear, then nobody wants the lower level gear. And I think that's the problem with the current system. Is it completely, after a couple of months, it completely removes the need or want for the lower level items. You know, like, and it's going to completely negate all of your crafted gear once people start hitting that higher level. So in the beginning, when the server first launches, then yes, it'll be great. But yeah, soon after that, it's just going to be, everybody's going to have like the same gear as they sell it, you know. And then when if everybody's running around wearing the same gear all the time, that feels boring. So I don't know. I personally want them to do like a bind on equip. So if you get a piece of gear, you can sell it. But if you equip that piece of gear, it is now bound to you. And that kind of comes from Dungeons and Dragons as well. Like, that's where that comes from, is you have to attune to an item, you know. But once you attune to it, you can't get rid of it. So it kind of becomes almost a cursed item. Some people like it, some people don't. But then you have, like, you would have special items that are not bind on equip and don't have gear requirements. And those items would then be worth a little bit more money because they're good twink items. They're good, like, give to your twink until you get the better gear that's bind on equip. So, yeah, I don't know. I look at it both ways. I would say Inquisitor has the most use, but it feels most convoluted. Inquisitor, I mean, it does. Paladin has the most use for stats. Paladin, I would say, uses more stats than anybody else. Shadow Knight and Inquisitor would definitely follow up to be seconds on those. But Paladin, previous to this update that we just had, needed literally all 7 stats. Could utilize all 7 stats. So could the Shadow Knight, but to a lesser extent. The Inquisitor never needed wisdom. Like, it's just a worthless stat for them. So the Inquisitor definitely is not as stat focused as the Paladin or Shadow Knight would be. You're not a fan of twinking? I'm not a fan of twinking either. Like, I think twinking is fun. Like, here's the problem with it right now is twinking a character is fun for some players. They enjoy it, right? They like to be able to feel super powerful, especially at low level, and be able to blast through the low levels, which is great. You know, we all like to feel powerful sometimes. However, what ends up happening when you twink characters is it breaks the game. So then after a couple of months of a server being live, now it's, okay, you're a brand new character coming into the game. You have no money. Now you just feel lesser than everyone else. So I don't personally like that. I think that takes away from the game a lot, especially a game like this that's supposed to be an MMO, a social focused MMO. If you make new players feel unwanted and unwelcome, it's not going to make them feel good when they join the game, you know, a month or 2 months or a year after the game launches. You know, new players need to also feel like they're contributing somehow. Of course, they're not going to be contributing a lot, but they need to feel like they're contributing, and otherwise they're going to feel bad, you know. And that's the issue that I have with twinking and power leveling and all that. You know, some advantage, yes, but the amount of advantage that you currently get is too much. If they do that, stop. Make items account bound so you can trade to alts. I mean, they could do that too. Like, make them account bound, and then you could give them to your alts on your own account. They could do it that way. I don't know. There's a lot of different options they could do. Sure. The rate it takes for name to spawn feels bad. Yeah, I kind of brought that up before in the past too, where I feel like I would like to see named spawn more often, but their rare items drop less often. Especially at lower level. I feel like you go into Wormsbane and by the time that you actually get a couple of decent items from Wormsbane, you've already out-leveled it. You know, like if you stick around in that zone trying to get some of the gear from there, you're just going to end up wasting time. You might as well just move to another zone. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel like there just needs to be more commonly dropped items, and named monsters should be a bit more common, especially at low level. When you get to the higher level, you know, it kind of makes sense because you sit at a camp for, 10 hours for multiple days. You know, like you're there for, at one camp you might be at for 40 hours when you're in the 50s, trying to level up. And, in that case, yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of different named. But if you're only at a camp for like 3 hours, you may never see a name spawn. And it's very possible to be at a camp for 3 hours at low level and then out level that camp. And then you just never see an item from that camp. And that feels bad. OP characters make others around them feel weak. It does, yeah. It does. That's why I don't like it. Having a character that's super well geared, they're still going to be more powerful. Put on the best. If you take all the level 60 gear from this game and put it on a level 1 character, you're going to feel great. Like you're going to be like, this is amazing. But then it's going to make everybody else in the party feel terrible. So it screws up leveling progression, especially for casual players. I feel like twinking for those players who are obsessed with power fantasy. Yeah. Well, so like the thing is, you can like you said earlier, there's levels of it, right? If you can turn a level 1 character into a god, that's a problem. But if you can make a level 1 character feel like a level 2 character at level 1, or a level 10 character feel like a level 15 character, that's, some sort of balance in there. But if you can make a level 1 character feel like a level 60 character, there's a problem. So there's obviously a middle ground in there somewhere, right? Now, finding that middle ground is going to be tough, and that's going to be what the devs are going to have to figure out. They're going to have to find that middle ground and what's going to feel comfortable. I feel like, you should be able to feel, a little bit stronger, sure. Having more health, more mana, all that kind of stuff. But if you can create a level, let's say you create a character and you twink it out, and at level 10, you have, 5 times the amount of mana that another player at level 10 has, that's going to feel pretty bad. Like, you're going to be really strong comparatively. Like, you can cast 5 more spells than they can per, round or whatever. That means they're doing a lot more damage. They're, they have more health. Stuff like that. It just feels really bad. So, we got to think about. People like to think about how it makes them feel when they are playing the game on their twinked character, and they're like, "Oh man, I feel really good playing this character because it's twinked out and it feels awesome. It's super powerful, etc." But they don't ever think about, well, how does it make everyone else around you feel? If they're your friend and you're using a twinked character to help power level them, then it's going to make them feel great. But let's say, I'm a super twinked character and I have a friend that's sitting there helping me power level. So I'm able to take up 2 full camps of mobs that otherwise 2 full groups of 6 would need to deal with at the correct level. So now one person is taking up, 2 full camps of mobs where 12 people would normally be doing that at the right level. That starts to feel really bad for the other players, right? Like it's like, okay, you're kind of ruining my experience because you want to have this power fantasy. Best place for a level 11 Necro to solo? You could probably go to the cemetery and start soloing there during the day. That's one good spot. You could go to... I mean, it depends on what your gear level is and your skill level is, but yeah. Cemetery is good right there in town, especially during the day. If you want easier mobs, you could go to... you could go to the Undead Highway. That'll get you to level 12, which is good. And then level 12, you can start doing higher level stuff because you get new pets and new spells and stuff at level 12. I would say for a brand new player, the Undead Highway from level 8 to 12 is good, which is over in Shaded Dunes. That's going to be your best bet for a brand new player. It gets a little bit slow from 11 to 12, but it'll be easy, and you won't have to worry, about dying too much. Like, you should be able to solo those very easily. On the open server, people were kind of poor. Hang on. People were kind of poor. I had better weapons than a level 20 rogue, I guess. He didn't care much about it. I don't know. It just depends. Like, if that's a brand new player, level 20 rogue, brand new player, it's hard to get weapons up to that level. First time you go through, most people just use crafted weapons. I'm like, for example, like this, it's actually a very good example. When this beta server launched, the closed beta server launched, everybody wanted steel weapons. As soon as people started making steel weapons, because they were able to level blacksmithing so quickly, everybody wanted steel weapons because they were very easy to get, and they were decent weapons that could help you level. Now, nobody wants steel weapons. Like, I don't ever see anybody being like, yeah, I want a steel weapon. No, there's so many extra weapons that are just out there to buy. People are now buying things like the Mace of Malice. They're buying the Stable Master, I think, Claymore. They're buying up all the weapons that are just common drops, and using those, and they're just better than the steel weapons. So that's the way the economy is all messed up in this game, and what's going to end up happening is now it's your base. The baseline is now way up here, whereas before it was way down here. So as far as balancing is concerned, the first 2 months of the game are going to be balanced down here, and then after that, it's going to be balanced way up here. And it's going to kind of feel bad. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how they do it. Should just scale the stats of the item down if it's level 50 item. Yeah, and they kind of do that, Enoch. So, like, right now, what they're kind of doing is stats mean less the lower level you are, or they mean more the higher level you are. So you might need 50 strength at level 1 to increase your damage any noticeable amount, but at level 50 you might only need 10 strength. And that's kind of what they're doing at the moment, the way that the stat scaling works. And there's different caps. There's different soft caps and hard caps. So, like, you could have 255 strength at level 1, but you're hard capped with the amount of damage that you can do at level 1. So it doesn't matter how much strength you have. And then as you get higher level, those caps start to unlock, and the effectiveness of your stats increases. So they're kind of doing that. Whereas the Undead Highway, it is Shaded Dunes, and then go from Shaded Dunes, run to the water, and then just follow the water all the way down to the camps, all the way down at the end, and that's where you're going to see the smuggler camps with the werewolf smuggler camps, and then right there near those is the Undead Highway. It's basically at the Fallen Pass. From Fallen Pass, Zone Line, and Shaded Dunes all the way to the water is the Undead Highway. One thing I want to put out there and hope it reaches out is that higher levels farming low-level areas, encroaching on low-level people really feels bad. Every group I play, someone complains. Oh, yeah, happens all the time. And that's part of the itemization, right? That's poor itemization. 2 gate fails in a row. Are you kidding me? I'm level 60, casting a level 4 spells, and it failed twice in a row. Come on. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. I think the itemization is kind of poorly done at the moment and definitely needs to be looked at. Unfortunately, Jahar was brought in for itemization and is now working on classes, so now itemization isn't getting looked at. So it's a whole thing that's happening right now, and it needs to be looked at, because another issue with that is we have classes, they're coming in and we're looking at damage numbers. You're looking at, like your DPS, your heals per second. You're looking at how much health your tanks have. You're looking at all of these different things. But what we're not factoring in is how much is itemization going to change that in the future. Like once they add in new items and people have more options of items, is it going to... ultimately, you would think it's going to increase all of those things, because hopefully they just make better items across the board, especially at the lower level. So, yeah, like that's going to be another factor. They need to absolutely destroy power leveling buffs. I agree. You should never benefit from the effect of a buff outside the range. Yeah, that's how I look at it, is if you're level 1, you shouldn't be getting a level 60 buff, and that level 60 buff giving you full whatever it is. Like get a druid to give you speed of the wild, regen, and damage shield. A level 60 druid giving you all 3 of those things on a level 1 character is just like, okay, well, you're pretty much a god for the next 10 levels. Nothing is really going to kill you. Your damage shield's going to kill everything. You don't even have to play the game. You just have to run around and tag stuff. And should it be that way? Like if this is supposed to be a group focused MMO, then I feel like no, it shouldn't be that way. And that's what I was talking about earlier. If you take a level 60 druid, you buff up a level 1 character, they can literally hog an entire area of XP that would otherwise, if you don't have those buffs, would otherwise require 1 or 2 groups, like 1 or 2 full groups to clear that area. Like they could easily do that. And that disrupts the other players that might be new players trying to come in and play the game in a group. And that's going to feel really bad, especially for brand new players coming in. So, yeah, I hope they do something about that. Should ban high-level players from low-level dungeons? There's an issue with that, though, right? Like, I'm all with you guys on that. With like the higher-level players should not be camping low-level items, depending on what they're camping them for. Now, there are some items in the game that, let's say, like once you get to level 60, I never got this super ultra rare item off of this level 40 boss. Well, now you kind of want to go back and get that. You want to camp it, because it's a really good item. And there are items in the game that fit that bill. Like there's items out there that you're probably going to want when you're level 60, and you probably didn't see them while you were leveling. So, you should be able to go back and camp lower level items sometimes, sure. But it feels really bad right now because you're getting people that are like level 20 going back into Wormsbane and killing the mobs in Wormsbane. And it's like, that gear's not even worth it. They're just doing it. A lot of them are just doing it for the cosmetic because the Wormsbane armor looks cool and they want to get the full set. So that's what a lot of them are doing it for, at least from my understanding. So. Someone wanted to sell me a steel dagger for 60 silver. I had the money but didn't have the will to part with it. Oh, you didn't want to buy it for 60 silver even though you had the money? Yeah. I do know everywhere I go, it is mentioned, and everywhere I go, it is either a problem or someone is talking about it. Yeah, the higher levels and low level dungeons. Yeah, it's definitely an issue. Like, these are things, though. What's funny to me about that entire conversation is that the casual players are the ones that are complaining that there are higher level players in lower level dungeons. The casual players are also the ones that are like, no, I want to be able to twink out my low level character and destroy things. On my second character, my second playthrough, I want to be able to do that. And it's like, you realize that you are saying that there's a problem, and then you are also saying when you get to higher level, you are going to be that problem. That's the funniest part to me. Is it's literally the same people are complaining about. The same people that are complaining about it are the ones that are going to end up doing it. Every time. Like, it's just... It's crazy to me. And then they defend it when they're higher level, they'll defend it. They'll complain about it that somebody's camping their camp at lower level, but then when they get to higher level, they'll be like, no, I should be able to camp this if I want to. And it's like, oh my God, you guys are like the biggest hypocrites. Isn't that how you leveled your wizard at the start? How I leveled my wizard at the start? No. I joined a group from level 1 to 8. That's how I leveled my wizard at the start. And then I quad-kited from that point on. And I had a little bit of gear, right? I gave him a little bit of gear in the beginning. It wasn't a lot. It was enough to get me started and make him a little bit stronger. But I slowly geared my wizard as I leveled my wizard. I just didn't go camp the items, but I would get items every now and then, add them to my wizard until he got to the point where he was fully geared out. Like, I think I started my wizard with this enchanted cotton cap, which definitely helped. I think I had an enchanted robe, and I had enchanted pants. And then I had this item right here, which helped out quite a bit. I didn't even give him jewelry until he was like level 15 or 20. And then I gave him jewelry. So, yeah, I mean, I gave him some stuff. But that was my point. Like, it was... What the heck is going on over here? My computer over here is like keeps blinking, and I don't know why. But that was kind of my point, is that if I gave my wizard, like if I started him out with all the gear that I currently have, he'd have thousands of mana and just be way, way too strong. That's a problem. Like, I literally was saying it's a problem from the very beginning. Some of the things that I do to prove that it's an issue. Like the quad kiting of the wizard was way too good. So I had to prove it because people didn't believe me. Like, I tell people stuff. I'm like, this is a problem. No, it's not. It's not a problem. You need to actually play a wizard. Prove it. Okay, here's the problem. But then it's every single time it's, oh, well, it's because you did this. You power leveled this. You twinked this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, these are all problems. Literally, these are all problems that I've been saying for the longest time. And people are just like, I don't believe you that it's a problem. And okay, well, I just showed it to you. So I don't know what to say after that. Can't wait for this game to come out. I'm having experience vicariously through you at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait for it to come out either. I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over. Like, we had a closed alpha server. I leveled up there, did a lot of stuff, a lot of camping. Then now we have a closed beta server. We're doing the same thing again. A lot of camping. So, yeah. You might be correct, but it would just bell curve human nature. When something tends to be a consistent problem, I would pay attention. Yeah, Well, that's the thing. It's going to be a consistent problem, and it's going to only get worse. The power leveling, the twinking, is all going to get worse. Look, you also got to look at the power. People didn't play Enchanter in the beginning because they're like, oh, the Enchanter's not very good, blah, 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 blah. It only took a couple people figuring out that Charm is super strong and then starting to spread that and figure out better ways to use Charm. And then now we're seeing people that are playing Enchanters and they're literally soloing named mobs in the 50-plus range. People were like, oh, but it only caps at level 52. You could only Charm up to 52. Okay, then why do we have Enchanters soloing with charmed mobs level 55 plus named mobs? It's just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean it's not a problem. Right? And that's the issue that I've run into, is it's just like trying to explain this stuff to people. They don't believe it's an issue until they see it for themselves. Oh, shoot. It's almost 11 o'clock. Okay. We're actually going to be doing a raid boss today at 11 if you guys are interested in it. And I'm going to stream it because it's, because of what it is. I always play my alts like they are on their own journey. I mean, yeah, some people play them that way. I tried playing Project 99 just to hold me over, but even with my older games, it was a bit too much, I think. Yeah, and P99 is actually, if you know what you're doing in P99, it's actually a really easy game. You can level stupidly fast. Yeah, it's not that hard. Roll my tank. Yeah, I'll be playing the tank unless they want me to bring my wizard. I can bring my wizard and play the wizard there. Do some DPS. Players are typically very good at detecting problems, but poor at giving proper solutions. Yeah, because they're not developers. You know, that's a thing. Like, developers have a certain type of mindset, and players have a certain type of mindset. Very few people can be both a good developer and are a good player, even though they want to say that they are. Like, but they are not usually. Because they're different types of thinkers, you know. Like, I feel like the players a lot of times are more creative in their ways that they do things. So they're very creative thinkers in how they play the game. Whereas developers are very much like an analog. This does this, like, you know, that kind of thing. So they just play the game differently. I'm curious to see what raids look like in this. Yeah, we'll show it to you today since it's a raid we had planned, and it's not a raid that, like, it's not like a first to engage kind of situation. How long do raid encounters last for? Not very long. The hardest one in the game, well, the hardest one that drops loot in the game, a couple minutes. All right, what time is it? It gives me like 15 minutes. Let me get on Criddle and run over there. Solo 35 Necro and P99, and it's super slow, but I'm not very knowledgeable about where to go. Yeah, it's going to be very slow if you don't know where to go. I use the wiki, but every spot I tried feels super slow, yeah. I think there's 10 levels of thinking, and your average person is a 3. Where each level of thinking is the ability to scope out yourself. Yeah, I mean, people have different viewpoints for sure. All right, let me go get a couple of potions real fast. We've got Lunar Shroud potion. We've got Grave Walker. We've got this. A lot of generational cultural differences. Yeah, there's that too. There's definitely that too. All right, let's get a couple of stamina potions. And then an extra potion of Grave Walker and an extra Invis potion. That should be enough. Do we have linen scraps? I got 2. Let me get 2 plus 12. All right, let's do that. I logged on MnM Druid today. Updated spells will be fun to experiment. It's very strong, Soulfire. Right now, the Druid is arguably the most powerful class at the moment. Thoughts on the wizard changes? They missed the mark on damage, I feel like. They need more adjusting to that. When they first came out, they really missed the mark on damage. They've adjusted it, and it's still not where I feel like it should be, personally. So we'll have to see what they do with it. Greater Serum of Intelligence. We're just gonna run over there. It's fine. Druids and RPGs always seem to go through this brief period where they're really OP. They do, yeah. I mean, depending on how you play them, too. I mean, I like to play a Druid in D&D. It's a really strong class in D&D. It's a really strong class in World of Warcraft. Like, it's, you know... Druid, the reason is, from what I can understand, is Druids are extremely versatile. So, a Druid has so many things going for it, and then they have to balance those things, and oftentimes they don't balance those things properly. They just don't. Because they, like, a Druid, since it is a jack-of-all-trades type of class, can't be the best healer, can't be the best DPS, can't be the best at utility, but oftentimes it is so good at healing and at DPS and with their utility that it's like, well, they have 3 categories that are at like 75% of all the other classes. So then you have a class that's basically 150% of any other class. You know, and it that should be their strength, that they are so versatile. And it's hard to lean into that as a strength without making it overpowered. Looks like Paladin, what's Ranger, Shaman, Cleric, Druid would benefit from Wisdom scaling, whereas it didn't before. It did. They did. Oh, for damage scaling, yeah. It was all intelligence previously. Any hints yet which deep dive class is next? I don't know of one. I mean, we could guess, but I don't know what it'll be. I've been saying it might be Ranger for a while because I feel like it's going to have a lot of things that they need to change and tweak. But yeah, they haven't said one way or the other. Ali mentioned they overtuned TTK. He said they will make adjustments. Wonder when that will come in. Yeah, we'll have to see what they do with that. I think Sean also mentioned they may have overtuned it, or somebody mentioned they may have overtuned TTK, which, but did they? You know, like, I don't know that they did overtune TTK. I think maybe they overtuned it for what the game currently is, with 14 classes that have not had their class rework done, right? What's going to happen if they now adjust TTK again and then adjust all those 14 classes? Well, now they're going to have to adjust TTK a third time. They're going to keep having to adjust it. They're not going to get it right because we don't even know what the TTK is right now, because you have 4 classes that are adjusted for this current TTK and 14 that aren't. And then what's your group makeup? You know? What's the bet? They miss October 1st? Right now, I wouldn't bet on October 1st. Well, here's the thing. They could always push the game out October 1st. But will it be ready on October 1st? You know, according to Sean, they could push the game out now. But is it ready now? For early access, for paying customers, for all that kind of stuff. That's kind of the debate. I think October 1st, they could absolutely release it on October 1st and have early access start. I don't think the game's going to be ready at that point. Based on how their current rate of updates, their current rate of everything that they're doing, I just don't think it's going to be ready. Their balancing isn't going to be right. Their TTK probably won't be right. Their XP rates for different group sizes won't be right. Their itemization, all of these things need to be looked at, and they don't have a lot of time to do that. I feel like they need to have all 18 classes in the game by the end of June. That's just so in August we can test them, and September make adjustments to them. That's just the classes. That's not even considering itemization. That's not considering TTK changes. That's not considering anything else other than just the classes being there. What? Chumlee just cried. He ran back by me and cried at me. Oh, I feel bad now. What year do you think will be able to push 1.0? You know, I don't know. I think it's going to take them from the time they hit early access, at least a year in early access before 1.0 would come out. But it depends. Like, if they're making decent money with early access and they're able to hire a bunch of people on and all of that, then absolutely. All right, let me join Discord. Hopefully they don't say anything super bad. I'm gonna let them know that I'm gonna be streaming. Yeah, I just want to let them know just in case. So we'll join the Discord. Let me see. Rampage. Go here.
Pain in the ass to put these scepters in when there's little 55 mobs surrounding all the platforms.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
So we might have some colorful language.
Wonder if we can just Ivu to the spots
I don't know.
and turn it in before anything aggroes.
I might try to change it up here in a second.
The other option is I can get So and just DA and run and train everything out. But then I might be there to pay the brats.
Well, hang on, let me drop that for a second. I might do this a different way. I don't want to have like a bunch of people cussing up a storm. Which raid is it going to be? It's going to be the Pustulax raid. So this is a mob that you spawn. You have to get the scepters to spawn the mob. You want dirty weeb talk? Yeah, that's what I want to avoid. I usually don't allow other people to speak on stream because I don't know what they're going to say and I can't really, stop that. So let me fix it real quick. Let me see if I can join the Rampage Discord on my other computer. Oops, what did I push? What button did I hit? Wrong button. Invite to server. Invite. There we go. Let me do this. There we go. Now I can hear them, and they're not going to be super inappropriate. You know how guilds can be. A lot of inappropriate people sometimes. I just put a Discord, a separate sound channel, mute the audio for the stream. Yeah, I can do that if it's on the same PC, but I do a dual PC setup. So every sound that goes into this PC, my main PC, goes to my other PC, all as one. So it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's harder to do. So I just use two separate accounts. I have on this PC, I listen on this PC, and I talk on this PC. It makes it very easy for me to deal with. The Go XLR. I'm sure there's a lot of ways I could do it. This works for my setup and solves the problem for me. I have a lot more control over it this way. I don't think you have your tags properly done on YouTube. You're not coming up as Monsters and Memories when searching for live. Monsters and Memories is not a category on YouTube last I checked. Did they add it? They've been trying to get it to be a category on YouTube, and it was not last I checked. Since when does dance work? I don't know, like a patch or two ago. I don't know when they added it in. You can currently dance and fight, though, which is fun. Should I be focusing on charisma as well as wisdom? If you want to charm, yes. And if you want to use unity or placate or those kind of abilities, yes. You do need charisma. If you are not planning on using those, then no. Comes up on live. I think it's because your name on YouTube is just Monsters and Memories and not Monsters and Memories MnM. I don't know what you mean. It comes up on live. Like they may have added the category for Monsters and Memories, and I just don't know about it. Let me look. I'm going to try to edit it. Let me see if I can edit it. Yeah, I don't see Monsters and Memories as an option. When searching for your stream on YouTube, when I search for Monsters and Memories and filter for live stream, you not show up unless I explicitly type MnM. Oh, that's probably because it's in my title. Oh, yeah, I could put Monsters and Memories in the title. There you go. I saved it to Monsters and Memories MnM all day. If that helps you guys. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, yeah. I thought you were just saying, like, the category. Unfortunately, the category, we can't We can't do anything about the category right now. Is that me? You guys can hear that? I should be able to fix it. Yeah, my push to talk should be on, so you shouldn't hear me unless I'm actually pushing the button. Might get a few more people from their feed, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I can put Monsters Memories in the title. It's not a big deal. Yeah, people ask me to stream specifically on YouTube, which I don't mind doing. Oops, that's a pet. Oh, I'll hit 500 AC here in a second. I haven't buffed myself. Yeah, I haven't put my personal buff up. So we'll hit this. Yeah, this is with dual wield on too. There we go, 503. And then I can put a shield on as well, but I generally don't. It's not worth it. Defensive stance is good, yeah. I'll be using that at least at the start of the fight. But it's good for the DPS, so this fight does have adds to it, so I can start in defensive stance, grab the mob. Let me do this. Pets on it. Snared on Discord if you get snared. All right. Have you done any specific crafting, such as blacksmithing? I've done all the crafts. Yeah, I do all of them. Is this a raid? It is a raid, yeah. Yeah, we're doing a Pustulax raid. We're gonna go offensive stance actually for this for the threat. Yeah, they broke this more, I think. It only cast this knockback once. Yeah, it's really dumb. Yeah, it literally did it once. I only had to move once. Yeah, I think the robe is no drop. Any mechanics there? There's a couple mechanics with this fight. I'll explain a couple of them since we're doing the fight. It doesn't work very well. It's very, very broken. But let me see if I can look at the items. So this is the robe that it dropped. And then it also dropped a cape, a really nice cape. But yeah, the mechanics of this fight are It's got an AoE, a frontal cone AoE. It's got a knockback attached to that, so that the main tank has to basically move for that. And then it's got adds. It's got a couple other things that it's supposed to do, but it currently doesn't do. The fight is very, very, very broken at the moment. How many people? Right now we have, well, let's look. Oh, shoot. That's the wrong button. Right now we have this many people, however many people this is right here in our raid. But I don't know, total maybe 18. I don't know. Three groups. Way overkill for this fight. Way overkill for this fight. They're rolling for the gear. We're going to do the rolling at the gear at the end, except for the robe, which is no drop. And since the robe is no drop, we have to do that now. So they're just going to collect all the gear, and then we'll do it at the end. There is a summoning ritual. I'm not going to go over how that works right now. There is a thing you have to do to spawn the boss, yes. That's one of those kind of secret things that... will eventually, I'm sure, will eventually come out on what you're supposed to do with that. But a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into trying to figure that out. And right now, a few guilds know how to do it. There's enough people that know how to do it. I'm sure you could find out, but yeah. Also spoilers. Yeah, there's some spoilers. Yeah, borderline spoilers, stuff like that. Yeah. So I try to avoid some of that stuff. Like I'm showing you guys the raid. I don't want to tell you exactly how to do everything. You know, some people want to be able to figure that stuff out. So. I like to make a pentagon of torches on the ground. Nice. Or a pentagram. I don't know. I said a pentagon. A pentagram of torches. Yeah. I remember in Meridian 59 when you die in that game, you go to like the underworld, and in the underworld you had to make a pentagram with the flames with the torches to be able to get out of the underworld. Hi. It's whatever you guys want to do. I'm doing what I was going to do. We started at 11. That's why I was saying yesterday. And then I don't know how long we're doing a few of these bosses. I can ask in a second to see how many we're doing. I think we can do one like every 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know how many we have. Probably not an hour's worth. Like at most like 4 or 5. We've already done one. But just depends on how quickly we can do it. Let me find out how many we have. Give me a second. We're killing a bunch of mobs right now. I know, but they're plague-born. They're like, you know, undead things. So I gotta kill them. Those are a little small for you. You know, you're not a big lady by any means, but those are a little tiny. How many of these we had to do? Okay. Yeah, my girlfriend's just asking about lunch, if we're going to be able to go to lunch. And what time we could do that. He says he's got 4 he would like to do right now. So, an hour to be able to do this. And then after that, we'll see. But yeah, at least an hour. Maybe an hour and a half. So what time is it? So it'll be 12:30. Hopefully by 1 o'clock we should be able to. I mean, yeah. So brunch ends at 2. Okay. Well, we can do whatever. I mean, if you guys want to go, you know, you and Aurora want to go and do it, then that's fine too. All right. Sorry about that. Doing like 5 things at once here. Are doing the same boss again? Yeah, we're doing the same boss again. So we can do this same boss multiple times because we've geared or we've collected the stuff for it. really dark. Let me see if I can turn up the light. I forgot to turn this down. There you go. That might be a little better to see. See what the heck's going on. Yeah, this mob is so broken, man. It's literally not doing like any of its abilities. It's just silly. Get the Pustulex robe. And the cape again, it looks like. Where are the nice looking bears from? This bear, so this is Hoku's bear. It comes from Glinting Hollow. So we got a couple minutes before we can spawn another one. So we're just going to kind of hang out. Was that cloak 7 AC with a passive buff? No, that was just a mithril cloak. He doesn't have anything special on it. Yeah, that's just this. What's this? What am I getting here? It's giving me all sorts of stuff. Oh, probably disenchant stuff. Yeah, 3 charisma. Just more disenchant stuff. Look at me, I'm glowing purple. You gave me a decent int staff. This right here? Oh, 13 int. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think the therms is 15, but this is a good secondary int staff for sure. Probably can sell, but don't want to deal with it. Yeah, I'm just holding on to a lot of that stuff, so if we ever want to sell it, we can easily sell it. I can disenchant it if I need to disenchant it. It's, you know, not a big deal. I can, I'll just give it to Kaz. I've got a whole alt, like a bank alt ESAR that's just filled with a bunch of stuff for alts and selling or whatever if we need to. I got rooted. How dare they root me? How rude. Oh boy. Here comes a bunch of mobs. Polar Bear is from Glinting Hollow? Yeah. It is. I don't know where that mob went. It looks like it's going to bring in like 3 or 4 more. Yeah, and then several more over here on the side, depending on how they path. Yeah, it's a bunch more. Yeah, we got a lot of enchanters here. Enchanter's best healer. Kind of best healer. One more. Let's see what else we have. Got another robe. And we got the sword, I believe. The heck did that guy go? What is happening? It keeps disappearing. I don't know what was going on. Good morning, Helter Smelter. How you doing, bud? It's just a Jesus zombie. Not much. If you bent your ankle, now it's sprained. Ruh-roh. That's not good. Thinking a holy diver. Pushulax, how'd you get him to spawn? By spawning him? I don't know. I'm not the one spawning him. That's the rest of the raid. They're dealing with all that. Got one more to kill. One more mob to kill here. Does Shaman Bear Form do anything special, or did they just make Shamans weigh 20 more levels to get it for no reason? It gives you, like, I think, health regen and some wisdom or something. I think it's. I know that it gives wisdom. I think it also gives a little, like, very small amount of health regen. There you go. Wisdom and regen. Curious what a Druid Wolf form might get in the future. Well, it's got Speed of the Wild. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. Make sure they're not broken, for those that don't know. Bear form is an alternate type of Sal. No, it's bear form. We run at normal speed. It just gives you wisdom and health regen. This should be the last mob on island. I could use haste on Criddle and Thorny Barrier on Criddle, please. We're doing a raid boss, Mike. It's called Pustulax. Oh. I got it. I need Sal, please. Yep, I'm good. This is what a raid boss looks like in MnM. This is a raid boss in MnM. Yeah, it's very broken. It's very way too easy to kill. But yeah, this is a current raid boss for MnM. Tell the enchanters not to cross the beams. Yeah. Ghostbusters vibes from that raid? There kind of are, yeah. With the beams to a giant ghoul. How many people do you need for this raid boss? We could probably do it with a group, with one group. I mean, it makes it easier when you have more people, but it's not hard. What level players is this raid meant for? 60? Yeah, it's 60s. I want to say that every raid is going to be for the 60s. Like right now, there are some level locked raids that are lower level, but I think those are going to go away. Sean is not a fan of those. Guys, we're doing a level 40 raid. Yep. Everything about these raids is just they're way undertuned. Way undertuned. The level 20 raid boss for Bone Contract was fun, though. I hope they don't remove it. It's not going to stay. It's not going to stay. Because that boss ends up going to be just... It's going to get killed by people with alts. That's what's going to end up happening. Drop anything good? Yeah, everything he drops is pretty good. He's got a robe, a cloak... robe, a cloak, and a two-handed sword that are all really good. I think he has some other stuff too, but yeah, they're less common. Not even on the wiki that I can see. Not many people know about him. Really, the only people that know about these fights are the level 60 players that are in one of 3 guilds. There's a few other people outside of that, but it's not a lot of people know about these fights. They don't even know they exist. Lets old EQ raiders like me a taste of raiding without needing to grind to 60. Yeah, but that's the thing, is it won't let you do that. If they have level locked raids, what's going to end up happening is the level 60 players are going to make alts that are level locked, and then they're just going to lock down those raids as well. So like you think that it'll open up low level raids for those players, but it won't. It won't. Yeah, they have to make those items on them. They have to make the items on them that are good enough for the level, but not too good to where higher level players need them. And that's the problem, is they haven't itemized them properly. Like the items that they drop right now are still, in some cases, best in slot. Like, it's really dumb. How many times can you spawn them? As many times as you have the materials to spawn them for. We've been saving up for a little while, so we're doing a bunch of them today. I'm good for a bit. This is one that requires scepters? Yes, this one requires the scepters. Who do you think the three biggest guilds in beta are? Well, Cohesion, Shade, and Rampage are the three, like, raid guilds. I think Cohesion might be one of the biggest guilds, player-wise. They just have a lot of players. See a ton of Dark Omen in the low levels. Yeah, I don't know like what guilds have the most players in them. I have no idea. Old Sebelis is a decent guild, decent sized guild, I think. And Dark Omen might be. I don't know. Medium Avium has a lot of players. Been seeing them with members steadily since Alpha. Where my guilds have rolled. Yeah. Don't destroy the mask? Okay. I didn't see a mask. I'll have to look for that one. Did you give me a mask? I don't see a mask, Isar. You give it to me now? Oh, okay. You crashed? No worries. Can you spawn them over and over with enough rods? Yeah. Yeah, you can spawn them indefinitely. Click and see invis. Nice. Very awesome. That's the one that doesn't work currently, or does work? But it's broken? Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know why I'm targeting that. Yeah, I didn't do the necklace quest, so it's nice to have. And the necklace quest, you have to wear it to get the see and viz part of it, so nice to have a clicky effect instead. think my enchant ally dropped on Criddle. Alright. Yeah, it's showing the bug numbers right now, so I don't think it's like on there, right, or something. Love your spell blade at all? I leveled it to like 9 so far. I haven't had a lot of time. Planning raid content that is lower number encounters for people who can't raid but only have 1 or 2 hours. You know, I don't know what their plan is, to be honest. Oh, God. I got it. But yeah, I don't know what kind of raid content they're planning for the like different group sizes and stuff. I would imagine have a few. Sure, raids won't be 8 hours, but they'll be camped by guilds. Yeah, it's they're currently still working on all that, trying to find different ways to spawn bosses, different ways to deal with all that situation. So we'll have to see what they do with it. Are there any dragons yet? There's one. Yes. There's one dragon. It's good, but it doesn't have any agility, so it's kind of a side grade. Key to enjoying the game is to play within your lifestyle allows. Yeah, absolutely. Have the devs said anything about making maybe having layers? They don't want to do that. No, that's like part of their instancing, that they don't want to do anything like that. Layers or picks or whatever. You wouldn't have any occasional raid experience, but group level dungeon content, so I can really commit to 100%. Yeah, and if they do enough of that, like hopefully they have enough single group content, to where the casual players will have plenty to do, and then raids will have raid content. I mean, there currently is a lot of single group content in this game. A lot of things to go after. If you're trying to get, like, the best in slot gear, you're going to be camping stuff for hundreds of hours. To get, like, the different clicky effects and, just literally, if you're trying to get everything you could possibly have, you're talking a lot of camping. More than most people will want to do. How long have I been on the beta? I was the alpha server before that, and then the beta server since the beta's been live. Like, I was here at the start of the beta. Have a couple opportunities to play per week with a chance of immediate interruption time, so I assume at classes maximum adventure time. Yeah. What is a huge green castle on the hill? You can see from Night Harbor. Someone said max level dungeon. It's going to be a high level dungeon. It's called Fallen Watch. It is not currently in the game, but it will probably be in the game before early access hits. So sometime during beta, we will most likely see Fallen Watch. Have you tried the wizard after they upped the damage again the other day? I did, yeah. The quad kiting is now doable, whereas it was not after the initial update. The damage is okay, but I want them to I want them to adjust the numbers again. I would like to see them adjust the numbers again. Basically, the reason that I'm frustrated with it now is because Fireball should be like the bread and butter ability of the wizard, and right now you don't even get Fireball until level 48, the first one, and then you get another one at level 60, and neither time you actually want to cast Fireball. You actually want to be casting a different spell for maximum damage and efficiency. So it's like a Fireball is not the spell that you want for the wizard, which it should be. So we'll just have to see. They gotta keep adjusting the numbers, unfortunately. Best time to go 2 one-handed on a fighter? Level 10 when you get it. When you can dual wield. Unless you have a really good two-hander. I play Rogue, Request Dagger, but my damage real low. What do I miss? Poisons? I mean, your damage is going to be low at low level. I don't... It depends on your level. As you get higher level, you're going to definitely want to upgrade your weapon. The Rogue's DPS is very, very much based on their weapon. And they're not really that good even with good weapons. So... They're not top anymore then? They never were top. They almost never have been top. They're supposed to be. They are not currently. Fun to play, but tank outshine me easy. I mean, it depends, yeah. No, I don't think that a tank will outshine you damage-wise easily. The fighters can do very good damage, which they shouldn't be able to. But a rogue is doing about what a fighter does. About the same. Because they have because you're ambushed and stuff, and your backstabs, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it depends. Depends on gear. Like a lot of it is a factor of gear. How can you play? You can try to get into the game right now by going to their website, monstermemories.com, signing in and opting in for the beta. Every Friday, they add in a lot of people to the beta. That's your only way that you can get into closed access right now. I opted in Thursday, got an invite on Friday morning. There you go. Yeah, you can get lucky. Some people would hate you for that. Do I still have upgrades I can get? Yeah, there's a couple. Something about real money trading was posted? Uh-oh. Strictly prohibited. Yeah, we'll check this out. Sean considers the state of the world economy. I'm good. I got it. I got it. I got it. Nah, you're good. No, but I landed on the platform, so it was fine. I didn't actually land in the water. You even need a shield for the raid boss? No, this one's really easy. I'm in offensive stance as well. It's a really easy fight. It's ridiculously easy. Like, all these raid fights, they need to be tuned better. Is that our last one for now? All right. I'm just going to log out here just in case we do more later or something. But I got lunch to do with the family, so... All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and head out. That was the basic raid stuff right there. What did he drop? He dropped the Pustulax robe right here and the cape, which is this one right here. And then he also has a sword that we've gotten, which is the best two-handed sword in the game. And that's basically what he dropped so far. He does have like at least one other item, but it's super rare. So we haven't seen it yet. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's been fun. I know it's a short stream today. I will be back on here probably tomorrow morning, and we'll be doing some more of this stuff. Yeah, the rare necklace is a ghoul illusion that Isar's talking about. But yeah, I'll be back on probably tomorrow morning, but I'm going to go hang out with the fam, and we got lunch plans and all that kind of stuff. So take care, everybody. Have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye.